What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Amanda, and welcome to another episode of the Dope Confidence Podcast. I'm excited to have you here in this space where we talk to amazing, dope people that have carved their own path, have decided to go after their dreams and take that leap of faith. I'm excited today to talk to Shonda Merrick. She is an entrepreneur. She is the owner of a luxury travel agency. She's also known as a Love Travel Girl. And I'm going to bring her into the space and we're going to have a conversation today. And you are going to be empowered. And ladies, queens, you're going to give yourself permission to go out there and go somewhere amazing in this world. What's up, Shonda? How you doing?
Hey, lovely. I am good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on to my podcast. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. We've talked over the last few years and done a few things with each other, but I thought it was really important for you to come on here today to speak to women, not just sharing your story about how you decided to start your own agency, but also how you gave yourself permission to do what you feel that you're called to do. So let's just jump right on in. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
So, I am Shonda Merrick. I am the CEO and founder of Love Travel Girl. And I give women permission. Permissive indulgence is what I call it. But I give you permission to break free from the daily grind and to take a curated travel experience. Go on a journey to see the world, to just enjoy yourself. Just take a moment. And some of them are day trips, some of them are journeys where you're gone for 20 days around the world, but take a break. That's what I just want us to do as women. Take a break.
Yes. And I love that permissive indulgence.
Yes.
Just gives me
Yes.
just all the
Permission
feels.
to indulge. Yes.
Yes.
Indulge
Give
yourself in
yourself.
whatever it is that makes you happy. Just, get some me time in there.
Yes. So how long have you had your agency?
I've had my agency since 2021. So,
2021.
about 3 years now, I have had the agency formally. I have curated trips prior to that in my past corporate life. And then also just for family and friends. I have been the person, I'm the girl that always would put the trips together. That's kind of how I got the name Love Travel Girl, uh, is from putting together these trips.
Yeah. So, you remember Brown Sugar. You've seen that movie before, right? Brown Sugar. Yeah, and when Dre asked her, when did you fall in love with hip hop? I want to ask you
Oh,
that question. When did you fall in love with travel?
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask me about hip hop. You know I was ready.
Okay, all right, let's start there. When did you fall in love with hip hop, and then we'll go to the travel because I love hip hop and some sneakers, just like you,
Come on, that's our thing right
right?
there.
Okay, go ahead, hip hop. When did you
Yes.
fall in love with
Okay.
hip hop?
So when did I fall in love with hip hop? I fell in love with hip hop in the seventh grade.
Ooh,
And
okay.
it was Curtis Blow. And my cousin tried to get me like to he had memorized, first of all, he had memorized the entire song. And then he played it for me and I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Okay, I love this beat." Like, and then all of a sudden I went to the park like a week later and the kids in the park were out there and they were break dancing and stuff. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And so I'm in the house trying to get this station that would barely, girl, you remember the knob. That's why I'm
Yes.
doing this. Because I'm using the little knob trying to get this station because that's where everybody said, this new music was.
Uh huh.
And once I would get the station in, I would just lay there in the floor and it was like heaven, and just the beat and the bass of it. And
Yeah.
I fell in love with hip hop from that moment on. Like, I did not want to listen to nothing else.
Now, which Curtis Blow song?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let me think.
Is it? Did he
No,
do
it,
the?
it wasn't Curtis Blow. It was the Furious Fives. Hip hop, the hibbit to the hibbit, the hip hopper. You
Oh,
don't
okay. Is that
stop
Sugar
until the
Hill?
bang bang boogie. Sugar Hill Gang. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sugar Hill.
yeah.
Thank you. Sugar Hill. That's who it was. And let me tell you, I know that song back and forth to this day. Like I can, I can, when they say I can spit that one.
She got bars. Shonda got
I got
bars.
bars. Mic drop.
Oh,
Don't play with me.
I love it.
Don't let this conservative look fool you.
Oh my gosh. I love it. So that's when you fell in love with hip hop. When did you fall
Yes.
in love with travel?
I fell in love with travel. I can remember two pivotal times in my life when I fell in love with travel.
Okay.
The first one was in elementary school, and I went to the library, and everyone was getting books, and I came across the magazine rack. And I saw the National Geographic magazine for the first time, and everybody was walking to the counter taking their books out, and I got to the counter and the librarian was like, no, magazines can't be taken out. And I was like, no, but why? It's a book. She's like, no, you can't take magazines out. So here I am, this little Catholic school girl, thinking of how I'm going to get this magazine out of the library, and she must have saw my wheels turning, so she pulled me to the side,
Yeah.
and the nun told me, she said, you know what? She said, this is what I'll do for you. If you help me put the books away every week for your class, then I will allow you to have the old editions of the magazine. And I was like, okay, all right. So the next week I came in, I put them away, and I took my first edition of National Geographic home. And when I tell you I fell in love, oh my gosh, Amanda, it was just like my whole world literally opened up. And so that was my first time. And then the second time was, I grew up in downtown Chicago. Well, I grew up in Chicago, and my mother and I were in downtown Chicago. And I told her I had to use the bathroom. And so she was going to take me into the Palmer House Hotel. And I walked into that hotel, and I remember the marble floors, and I remember the vastness of this ceiling and the gold flakes, and I remember the velvet on the couches and the clinking of the china, just everything about that moment, and going into the bathroom and the attendant being in there, and she handed me a towel to dry my hands on. And I was just like, "Oh my gosh." Like, oh my gosh, like I just dried my hands on a towel.
Wow.
So we walked out, and I never forgot that hotel. I always remembered that this is some place that I'm meant to be. This is some place that I'm supposed to partake in. This is something, I'm a life I'm supposed to live.
Yeah.
And fast forward, about 20 solar years later, I actually hosted an event at the Palmer House and stayed there with my sister. They actually, I told the salesperson about what had transpired, and they put me in the presidential suite. And the suite was so large. I'm a big, scary cat. And so I called my sister who lives in Chicago, my sister Lisa, to come and spend the night with me. And we had so much, we were like teenage girls in that room. We had so much fun.
Wow. That is so amazing. Please forgive my cough attack. 'Cause smoke got me.
No.
There's no smoke, you guys. um, but that is amazing. To experience that as a child, to get the warm towel,
Mm-hmm.
that's like
Yes.
pure elegance for a child
Yes.
to experience that. And I'm sure that was like a pivotal moment for you where you're like, this is going to be a part of my future. You didn't know what
Mm-hmm.
for sure, right? At that
Right.
moment.
I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what, I didn't know how, just like with the National Geographic magazine.
Yeah.
I didn't know how, but I did know that it was something I was supposed to do. I even went to my mom and I was like, "Mom, look, I don't remember what country it was, but I remember showing her the magazine." And I was like, "Mom, look." I was like, "Look at this." I was like, "I want to go here." And she was like, "Girl, we can't even afford to go across the street. How we going to go around the world?"
Ah.
And now, mind you, my mom travels more than I do.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, my
Wow.
my mom is gone at a moment's notice. You say go and she's there. She has I think my mom travels. My mom loves to travel. Absolutely loves to travel.
That's amazing. So you saw a glimpse of it, like little glimpse of your future. You wasn't sure, but you just
Mhm.
saw a little bit from the librarian to or the nun until your trip with your family and it
Yes.
started showing up. And so then you moved into doing corporate events and corporate travel for a few companies, right?
Yes, I did. So,
Okay.
my career started in corporate travel.
Okay.
Actually corporate event planning, and
Okay.
then transitioned into corporate travel, and then back to corporate event planning again. But I did corporate event planning. I did cause-related marketing, and case you don't know what cause related marketing is, that's when you're doing something for like breast cancer or like
Mm,
the breast cancer walks,
okay.
prostate cancer, diabetes, those are cause related marketing. But I hosted events for those. And then I also transitioned into banking and to investment and finance and
Wow.
started doing events for that as well. And so that's how the corporate travel and corporate event planning married up. So with
Mm,
those two, you're having to move tens of thousands of people sometimes across the country. So you need to make sure that they have hotel rooms in addition to the meeting space that you have to provide for the event. Then you also have to make sure that they have food. Then you have to make sure that there's transportation to and from the airport and to the hotel, then transportation to the events that you're hosting. So all of that, those two things just mesh together so well.
wow. And through that, you learn the very intricate parts and details of how to really plan a trip, how to plan
Yes,
an event.
yes, very intricate details. I'll
Wow.
tell you a funny story. The first really big event that I did, I was at the City of Hope, and my manager Elizabeth. Hey Elizabeth, if you're out there.
Hey, Elizabeth.
uh, Elizabeth, she was this little feisty lady, but oh my God, she was so sharp.
Mm,
And she told me, she said, "Are you all done?" And I said, "Yes." We had set up everything. I had made my list, checked it twice. I thought, oh my gosh, like I am golden, I'm done. And she said, "Hop in the golf cart." So I hopped in the golf cart with her. I said, "Where are we going?" And she's taking me all the way back. And City of Hope is huge. It's this
mm-hmm.
giant campus. So she's taking me all the way to the back of campus, and we get to the back where our storage sheds are. And she said, "Look in here and tell me what you forgot." And I was like, "What?" She's all, "Look in here and tell." I was like, "No." I was like, "I checked my list." She's like, "Ida, you forgot that signage. How do you have an event if nobody knows how to get there?" I can tell you to this day, I have never forgot the signage for any event. But
Oh
that's the
my
level of
gosh.
intricate details that there are, that
Yeah.
there's so many moving parts and so many different things that you as the event planner have to take care of and have to
Mm-hmm.
manage. And it's the same thing with group travel, with luxury travel, with what I'm doing now. There's so many details and so many I's to dot and T's to cross that, if you don't have a grasp of that, like
Yeah.
one little thing can cause everything to fall apart. But that's what I love. Like, I love the details. I love being in the details of stuff.
Yeah. You do, and I can tell from me personally knowing you from the experiences that you've had. Like you're all about the details. You're all about the experience. And when you
Hmm.
were in corporate, when did you feel that little itch in your spirit, like I think it's time for me to make some changes and jump out and start my own agency?
So it started around COVID. So working from home during COVID, my godmother passed away,
Okay.
and it was very sudden. But she was the type of person that just lived life. She had this vigor for life. She loved to travel. She loved to experience things. And when she passed away, I was like, okay, you know what? It's time. Like this,
Mm.
this is time. And so, I started putting together the agency. I built the agency up. And then from there, I started, putting together my trips and stuff like that. But I just felt like, okay, I need to give this a little more. Like, I
Mm.
really need to focus on this. And I was at a point where I was no longer gratified in my current in my past job. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, my past career, I should say. Okay, let's move away from this. It's time. And then it was like I felt God tugging at me. And
Mm.
that feeling you get when God's like, okay, it's time to let go. It's time to let go. But we as women have a tendency to want to hold on to stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and we hold on until our hands are bleeding, we got blisters, like it's down to the white meat, as they say, and we still trying to hold on.
For real.
And it's like, okay, like,
For
no,
real.
you need to let go. But when you open your hands, there's a saying that I used to have on my refrigerator, and it's called God the Great Giver. And it says, God will never leave you empty. If he asks you to put something down, it's only so that you can pick up something greater.
Mm.
And that is something that I have lived by. When God gives me that nudge and he says, okay, it's time to go, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job,
Yeah.
whether it's a friendship, I have learned to let go, because holding on hurts more than it does to let go.
Oof. That's so true. That is so true.
Yeah.
Where did you find the self belief or and the confidence to evolve into an entrepreneur full time?
Um, it's my God-given confidence. Like, I know that what God has given me, he's given me a vision for my life.
Mm-hmm.
And my confidence comes from that, and knowing that, I have the faith, I've done the work, and so I have to go on the path that he's given me. And I can't listen to this person over here saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or
Yeah.
this person over here saying, like when I started in corporate event planning, people were like, "Oh, so what are you going to be, a party planner?"
Oh my gosh.
So what are you going to be, a party planner? And that right there was just like the one thing that was like, okay, this career has given me an avenue to travel a life that I could not have imagined, all
Mm.
because I had the self confidence and I listened to the vision that God had given me.
Wow. Wow. And was there any fear? Did you experience any, hesitation to take that leap?
Oh gosh, yes.
It's like, are you crazy, girl?
Girl, yes. Yeah, there was definitely fear, there was hesitation, there was
Yeah.
doubt. But again, just that feeling like God makes me really uncomfortable when he wants me to do something. He makes me
Mm.
very uncomfortable. So when I'm uncomfortable, I mean, I can't sleep. It's like the thought just keeps coming back in my head over and over again. And it's like, okay, you know what? Let me go do what God told me to do before I end up in the belly of a whale.
Okay, Jonah.
Right.
It's a biblical reference for you guys. Go read it.
I mean, too many places God have been and tipped a boat, a yacht over, and been like, bloop, there you go. Now you'll listen.
Oh my gosh, you are out of control. But you of course, like everyone, we all have our moments where there's doubt that steps in.
Right.
But you always have to look back at your skill and your ability and your God-given
Hmm.
talent that you had, that's the assurance that you have, like, you can do
Yes.
this.
Yes. That is exactly it. Yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I have the skills, I have the resources, and I
Yeah.
have the ability to do it. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
have the ability. So there's the doubt, but then I know that I'm capable. I know that I'm
Yeah.
capable. And even if I mess up, that's an area of opportunity for me to come back and improve upon.
Speak on
It's
it.
not, for me to lay down and wallow in. It's okay, you know what? I messed up right here. Let me go back and improve upon that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you segue into making mistakes. Let's talk about failure, because I'm sure there's some moments where you're like, "Oh man, I could have did that better," or I kind of
Mhm.
failed in that area. How do you bounce back from failure?
I look at it as, I don't like to call it failure. I like to look at it as an area of opportunity.
Mm.
So when there are times that, I, don't meet the deadline, or there are times that, I know that I could have been better in that situation. Um, I first of all pray about it, because I want to make sure that it's just not my ego, because a lot
Mm.
of times it's our ego, and it's me being a perfectionist. But I take feedback and I take criticism from people, saying, this is, what you could have done better, this is how you could have done it better. And I use those moments, I use those God moments as like, okay, you know
Yeah,
what, let me take this and see how I can capitalize upon it. And sometimes great things come out of that.
that's so true.
Great things come out of some of your biggest mistakes and your biggest failures. There was a time in 20, I think it was 2015, 2014, 2015, where I had gone through like just a horrible, breakup in a relationship. And I just felt like everything was falling apart in my life.
Mm.
And I look back at it now, and it was just God just clearing my slate.
Wow.
And because everything had fell apart, it gave me an opportunity to build things back up again in the way that I wanted them. In the way it gave me, permission for me to, it empowered me to say,
Mm.
okay, Shonda, what do you want out of life? Where do you
Yeah.
want to go? My kids had just left home. My both of my sons had, basically they were 18 and I think 21 at the time. So it was like, I was not identified as a mom anymore.
Yeah.
I was no longer in a relationship. I was just me by myself, and I had to learn to sit with me and
Mm.
enjoy me and figure out what I like to do again. It wasn't, going to a basketball game. It wasn't going to a wrestling match anymore. It wasn't watching UFC fights on the weekend. It was, what do you like to watch on TV? Where do
Wow.
you want to go eat? What do you want to do? And that's when I reunited my vigor for travel. I had traveled with my children when they were younger, but now I was single. I was not childless, but I
Yeah.
was an empty nester. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like, I can go live life on my terms.
Wow.
I can live life the way that I want to.
Yeah.
And that was so amazing. That was so like, that was a very pivotal point in my life for me.
Yeah. Man, I think about that, and we're going to talk about permission, but I often think about my mom. Like, so when my mom and dad, they had been married for like 50 something years, right? And my
Hmm.
dad passed away 5 years later. She passed away, but they had been married since she was 18 years old. So she raised 6 kids. She was a stay at home mom, a pastor's wife. And so when my dad died, she was like, who am I?
Hmm.
She felt like she
Right.
lost her identity. And so she always reminded us girls, it's okay for you to get married. You want to have kids, that's great. But always pursue you, pursue the things that you want to
Yeah.
do, because you have purpose. Even though you're married or you have a partner or you have kids, you still
Hmm.
have purpose. You still have calling. You still have likes. There's
So
things that you want
true.
to do. And so I'm glad that you brought that up. Is like, for women, and not saying men don't go through this, but for women, it's very challenging for us because we get lost in serving and empowering and building
Yeah.
up people that we lose ourselves. Yeah.
So very true. So very, very true. Yeah, I definitely was lost, and it felt so good to find me.
Wow.
It felt so good to find me
Yeah.
again. I remember going to a restaurant, and I sat down to eat, and the lady was like, "Oh, our special for today is," and she was describing this seafood dish,
Uh
and
huh.
I was like, "Oh no," I was like, I can't. And I was like, I got ready to tell her I don't eat seafood, but it was because the person that I had been with before was allergic to seafood. And I was like,
Mm.
wait a minute, no, I love seafood.
Wow.
No. I love, yes, please bring it out. Thank you. But it's little things
Wow.
like that where back going talking back about your mom, it's
Yeah.
losing yourself, and that, making sure that you have permission to do what you love in life, whether it's career, whether it's traveling, whether it's, cooking, gardening. Do what you love. And I feel
Yeah.
like you said, we as women, we don't get that enough.
Yeah, we don't. And so let's talk about permission. That's what you specialize in. You specialize in giving women permission. And let's talk about
Mhm.
that. So, with your travel agency, your luxury travel agency, how do you help women to give themselves permission?
First of all, I take it off of your plate. So I will, you come to me and you say, "Hey, Shonda, we're going to use Tulum because that's where Amanda's been wanting to go."
Okay.
So you say, "Shonda, I want to travel to Tulum. I want to go to Mexico. I have 7 days in which to go to Mexico." And I say, "Amanda, okay, give me your budget, give me your dates, and I run with it from there. There's nothing for you to do but select, okay, I want this experience, I want that experience. I give you three options and you select your three options."
Yeah.
And that's making sure that, I have a very extensive questionnaire that my clients fill out. And in that questionnaire, I'm asking you, what kind of wine do you like? Do you like tea or coffee? Do you like it sweetened? Because when you're on vacation, the only thing I want you to think about is, am I waking up at 8 o'clock or am I waking up at 10?
Yeah.
Do I want to have a late night or do I want to have an early night tonight? It's the simple things. It's the
Yeah.
simple things that we take for granted, whereas because we're always go, 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 go. This gives you permission to relax, permission to, spend your time how you want to. You choose, do I want to be this adventurous person swinging from the trees in Costa Rica,
Yeah.
or do I want to be the person, sitting on a boat sailing down the Nile?
Yeah.
So that's what I do for my clients. I give them that permission to say, you know what, I just want to relax. I want to be adventurous this week. I want to
Yeah.
go and, spend 2 weeks tracking through the Amazon, looking at birds. I mean, it's just whatever it is, whatever you want to do, I help you fulfill that dream.
Yeah, and that's amazing because I think because you're very detailed oriented. Most times people don't even think about that, right? I've worked
Hmm.
with travel agents before in the past, and they've never asked me any of those questions. They're like,
Yeah.
"Where you want to go? Here's this, here's that," but never like, "What kind of wine do you like?" Never the amenities, never the small things that are
Hmm.
enjoyable to us. Because I drink
Yes,
coffee,
very
so
true.
I want a place that has coffee, or I want a place where I can walk out and hear the ocean or see the ocean immediately when I walk out of my room. And I love that you're very detail oriented. And when it comes to women, and this is another thing that people don't know about you, but you've had a lot of these experiences. You've went to 60 countries, right, and 6 continents, and 43 plus coming soon states, almost all 50 by the end of this year.
Yes.
You make sure that you have had the travel experience, so what and where to book for your clients. That's the great thing I like about you. Why do you think
Yes.
that's
So
important?
it's important, number one, because women need to feel safe when we travel, whether we're traveling in a group or whether we're traveling alone. First thing that as a woman, we always think about is our safety.
Mm-hmm.
Our safety is number one priority to us. Second, as an African American woman, we all know we're not treated the same. We know that everywhere we go that we're not always welcomed with open arms, and I want to make sure that if I send my client to a place, that they have the experience that they're supposed to have, whether they're a black woman, whether they're a white woman, a Mexican, an Indian, or an Asian, that you are treated the way that you're supposed to be. So if I show up as Shonda the travel advisor, I'm going to get all the bells and whistles. They're going to upgrade my room. They're going to do all these amazing things for me. But I like to show up as just Shonda. And when I show up as just Shonda, I want to know, did the front desk clerk greet me? Did she walk around and hand me my key like she was supposed to? If I'm on the concierge level, did they escort me up to the concierge level for a private check in? Did I receive, all of the amenities that I was supposed to receive? Was
Right.
there a welcome note left in my room? Was there, were there nuts, even though I said that I had a nut allergy? So there's things like that that I test the hotel on to make sure that my clients are getting exactly what they're supposed to receive. So there's also the fact that, what is the cleanliness of the room like? Are you putting me, in your, just because I booked the lowest rate, are you putting me in your worst room that I look, and the only thing I see is a concrete corner, but there's a little bitty tip of the ocean and that's considered an ocean view? No, that doesn't
Mm.
work.
Yes,
If
yes.
they're supposed to have an ocean view, I want to make sure when they pull that curtain back that they see the blueness of the ocean. They see the sand there. They're able to see the sunset over the horizon. So I want to make sure that they have all of those things. So that's
Yes.
why I travel to all of these countries. I travel and I stay at the hotels that I recommend. I take the tours that I want my clients to go on because I want to make sure that they feel safe with these drivers, that they feel safe to the places that they're going into. There's, certain customs and things like that that you're not aware of unless you actually go to that country.
Mm.
So it's important for me to make sure that, hey, you know what, Amanda, when you go to this country, make sure you know that you cover your shoulders and that your knees are covered when you go out because it's offensive, to the people in that country if you don't dress that way or if you're dressing in a very revealing way. So it's, all of those little important factors and details that are important for me that I make sure that I pass on to my clients.
Yes. And like once again, I think that's amazing. I've never met a agent and it's not like I've worked with, numerous ones, but yeah, I think what you're offering to women or to anyone that wants to book a
Hmm.
luxury travel with you, but what you're offering to women is top notch, and it leaves the
Thank you.
client with a sense of security, knowing that I'm not only going to go for rest and to be able to recharge, but I'm going to be safe in an environment where I know that I can
Yes.
enjoy my trip without thinking about those different things that you mentioned. So I think that's great. I
Yeah.
think that's great.
Yeah.
And when you think about entrepreneurship, you as an entrepreneur, why is it important, you think, for entrepreneurs that have their own business, that run their own show without a team to have self care? Why is self care important?
Again, back to me time because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying, I think I've probably told you this before, but there's a saying that I heard years ago and it has just stuck with me. And it says that if you, hold on, let me make sure I get it right. If you give to someone else before you give to yourself, you make the other person a thief.
Mm.
And I don't want nobody stealing from me. So as an entrepreneur, I want to make sure that you are taking the time that you need to be stress free because you can't run a business from an empty cup. You can't, pour into your business the way that you need to if you're not recharging on a daily basis or on even if it's just a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
15, 20 minutes a day, taking time to, take a walk outside or, sit and listen to the birds chirp, but take time for yourself. And then
Yes.
especially taking time to just completely disconnect and go away somewhere and, reset. And then it stimulates your creativity. Like, I feel like I get so creative when I'm like out on my trips and when I'm out traveling. I feel like it just revigorates me. I don't, does that happen to you?
It does. Even when I look back at the photos, I'm like, ah, this was such a beautiful moment for
Hmm.
me to be recharged into, because your mind becomes more clearer, right?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yes. So
Ah,
true. So true.
so
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, you guys, you need to make sure that you take time for self care, and you don't have to go to another country. You can do self
No.
care in your own backyard, especially in LA and where
There's
we
so many
live.
places in LA. Yeah. There's so many places in LA that we can go to, so
Yeah.
many different restaurants, even go to the hotel for a day. I mean, you can get day passes for hotels. I don't think people realize this,
Let's talk
but you
about the
you
day
don't
pass.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think people realize there are hotels that'll allow you to come there for the day. You get to use the amenities like the pool. You get to, hang out in the lobby. Even sometimes just going and sitting in the lobby, just having coffee and having
Mm.
lunch there and just, working from the lobby of a hotel. I don't know about other people, but for me, that's relaxing because I love to people watch. And then I also get to see, what's going on with this property, what's going on, how are the people being treated, I get to be a little fly on the wall. So that's one of the other things like I like to sneak around and do sometimes. But for
Wow.
entrepreneurs, I definitely believe that, that's an option to get out of your office. Get out of your office and go work in a hotel, go work in the lobby. Sometimes they'll even let you buy passes for like the concierge lounge. That's a little gem I'm gonna drop right there as well.
Drop the gem. Drop the gem. I did not know that. Really?
Yes, yeah, you can buy your way into the concierge lounge. So if you want to go like on a club level, say you're staying at a hotel, and you want to use the club lounge or club level, you
Hmm.
can actually buy your way up to that. Now it depends on how many people they have in that are actually using the club level. So they may say, "Oh, we're at capacity, we can't let you buy a pass," but the majority of the time they do.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow. What advice would you give to someone who is thinking about taking the leap of faith to follow their dreams or follow something that they know they're called to do? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them, don't look to the left, don't look to the right, look straight ahead and leap.
Mm,
Leap. It will be the best thing that you've ever done.
wow. Don't look to the left, don't look to the right, just sleep.
Just leap.
Wow.
Yeah. Make sure you
Wow.
have, but of course, let me preference that. Make sure you have your ducks in a row
Right.
before you jump. Don't just go in
Well,
with your negative bank account.
right. Well, Shonda told me to jump.
Just
You didn't listen
jump.
to the rest of
No.
the part where she is.
Make sure you have it all in order first. Make sure
Oh
you
my
have your
gosh.
ducks in a row, then leap. Yes.
Yes, yes. And I have two more questions for you, Shonda.
Okay.
If you could speak to your younger self, what would you say to the young Shonda?
Oh gosh. I would tell her, hmm. Oh, you're making me emotional. I would tell her your life is going to be amazing. Stay the
Mm,
course, continue to believe in yourself, and prepare for an amazing ride.
wow. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So, Shonda, we cannot allow you to say goodbye to us without you giving us three travel tips that we
Ah.
can follow.
Three travel tips. Number one, take pictures, take videos. Those moments do not return. Even if you go back to the country again and again, take pictures, take videos, because each moment is different, each time is different.
Mm,
Number two, um, go. Don't wait for anyone else. Don't wait for anyone else to give you permission to go. Go. If it's what you want to do, it's what you want to see. It may sound crazy, it may sound impossible, but if it's there, someone else has gone before you and you can get there too. So
mm,
go. And last but not least is travel with the people that mean the most to you, the people that mean the most to you, because those are the memories that you will cherish when you look back on life. Travel with, your family, travel with your friends, your children, your loved ones,
yeah,
travel with them.
yeah, I love that. I think the one that sticks out the most is probably number two, to go. I think a lot of times we wait on others to go on these amazing trips. Like,
Yes.
we're like, oh, well, let's go on a trip. And it doesn't happen. And we just, time
Right.
passes by. And we have to make the time to enjoy life because you only have
Yeah.
one life.
Yes. And it's not promised to go on forever. And that's why another reason why I created Love Travel Girl is because I wanted women to have the ability to travel together. So not everybody has a large group of girlfriends. Not
Hmm.
everybody has, a large family. And women want to go to destinations throughout the world and they want to have companionship. They want to
Hmm.
have, friendship. And some of the groups that I've traveled with and some of the groups that I've put together, those women are still friends to this day.
Wow.
Like they've traveled together years ago and they're still friends to this day. They still have the memories. And I saw a lady a couple weeks ago and we had got these bracelets when we were in Cuba. And we both showed up to the event wearing these bracelets that we got in 2017 in Cuba.
Wow.
I mean, like, that's
Wow.
crazy. I
That
mean, so,
is
it's like
crazy.
those little memories live on forever. And those are the things that, when you're at the end of your life that you look back on, those are the things you'll want to remember, not, how many accolades did I have hanging on the wall, or how many hours did I put in as an entrepreneur, or how many hours did I put in for my career, whether my boss, said good job today or not, or, whether I got
Right.
16 awards, sales awards. Those are the memories that you're going to want to remember about, traveling and experiences that you have with your family and friends.
Yeah, I love it. Y'all go travel. Y'all
Go
reach out to
travel.
Shonda.
Go travel. I am at Love Travel Girl Agency on all platforms and Shonda Merrick. So you can find me on everything.
You can find her everywhere. And make sure you go out there and travel. Like she said, you only get one life to live, and we don't know when that life is going to end. But while you have the resources, you can pay
Mm,
it over time for those that need to, but do it.
yes.
Plan the trip.
Yeah. Plan the trip. Plan the trip. Take the trip. Go.
Yes.
That's what I tell
Yes.
people. Go and enjoy life.
Yes. So, where are you going next? Where's your next big trip?
My next big trip, my husband and I are doing a road trip to
Mm.
finish seeing the rest of the states.
Oh,
So we
wow.
have 7 more states to see, and then we're also doing a cruise to Alaska. So that will finish. I think he's seen everything but 2 states.
Okay.
So he's an over the road truck driver. So he has gone all over the country. But
Wow.
yeah, he has a love for travel just like I do. And I wouldn't be able to do this without him because he is truly my backbone and my support for this. I just love him to
Wow.
death.
We honor you, husband. We honor
We do.
you. Well, Shonda, I cannot wait for me to plan my trip. I need to plan a trip to Tulum for real, seriously, for my birthday in
You
October.
do.
I really
Yes,
need.
you
Is that a
do.
good
We should
time to
get
go?
started. Yes, October is a great time to go.
Okay,
Yeah,
I need to
because you're
do that.
missing all the tourist people. So, yeah,
Okay.
go
Yeah.
off. And that's another thing I will tell people, go off season. Off
Mm.
season, you will have a much better time than going in peak season when it's overrun with people. Remember, there's 3 things: off season, peak season, and shoulder season. And shoulder season and off peak will get you the lowest prices.
Now, what is shoulder season?
So shoulder season is what butts up against the peak season. So like peak season for let's say spring break would be considered peak season.
Okay.
So if you go somewhere peak season, but if you go like the week after or the 2 weeks after spring break, then that's considered shoulder season, and the rates are typically lower.
Okay. Y'all got
Yeah.
another gym. Okay. I'm trying to tell you. Entrepreneurs, that's my heart. That's who we are. So we're speaking to you
Yes.
today to make that time to go, even if it's local. Just schedule some time so that you can recharge and be around to build a legacy for you and your family.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Well, thank you,
Very true.
Shonda, for so much
Thank
for
you,
joining me.
Amanda. I
Ah,
have loved this. I felt like people were listening in on our conversation.
right? Give me a glass of wine.
Right? Give me my mocktail.
Right? Where's my appetizer?
Yes.
Let me me go walk out on the sand real quick, Shonda.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You're such a storyteller and a visionary when you share about travel that I can just see it and hear it when you're explaining about your trips and everything. So I just love watching your experiences, and I hope to experience Tulum in October.
I hope you will too, Amanda. I'm going to make
Yes.
sure it happens.
Okay. You guys reach out to Shonda. All of her information will be in the show notes. And thank you so much, Shonda. And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.